Hello, Salome B here, and today I want to give some of the myths circling around KENNEKA Jenkins' tragic accident and basically some things that need to be asked as far as according to her lawsuit and case so they can prove that she actually did walk into the freezer, because there seems to be two videos. One where the family has snippets, and then Andrew Holmes, who's an activist for violence, which he's pretty much an association to the police and the media of Chicago. He has gotten the other tape, and he has viewed that tape, and he says that he actually can see her walking into a freezer. So the family needs to see the same tape that Andrew Holmes has seen that the police showed him, because now that's critical when you have so many myths and you have so many misinformation surrounding KENNEKA Jenkins' case. Okay. So what I see thus far, myths surrounding KENNEKA's death. Nothing was reported by authorities that suggests KENNEKA was assaulted before she died. Now, we know that they're waiting on the toxicology report and the autopsy to make sure that there was no foul play or anything like that. Now, I know on the videos they say that they could see her on the video at 3:30 a.m. And then the video with Irene with the burnt orange hair, that's 1:36 a.m. There are a lot of people saying that that's not her because from behind she appears to be thicker. And in the elevator, if you go back to the elevator pictures, she actually turns around and you can see her behind. And you can tell that she actually has a round behind. And that behind does match her as she's walking around. That, she has a round behind. Now, I think that we do need to see the model of the freezer that the Rosemont Crown Plaza organization or company uses, and where was that freezer made, and who is the company that makes those freezers? Because if you're walking into a freezer and it closes on you, and you walk into another door and it closes on you, that's not good. That can cause repeated accidents, freak accidents like this. Okay, those are the myths surrounding her death. We know also in that video with Irene, people were speculating that something was going on in the video, and then they show a video for the whole room, and it's a lot of people in there, and it was just far from the truth, what everybody was saying. Now, this is going to be, if they do not find foul play in KENNEKA Jenkins' tragic death, it will be a wrongful death, which is under negligence and premise liability law. And it's basically going into the civil wrongful death action. Okay. And premises liability lawsuits are animal bites, slip and fall accidents, dangerous property, swimming pool injury, inadequate maintenance, restaurant liability, and real estate liability. So she would have the restaurant liability because the freezer was in the restaurant, which was not fully developed or not fully completed. And it was the accident waiting to happen. Now, comparative negligence is when an injury or somebody's injured, they prove that the owner was either 90% and the injured was 10% at fault. And that's comparative negligence. I don't know if they're going to use her being inebriated as a way for them to get out of paying a large lump sum of money to KENNEKA's family, but that's something to look at and just remember and think about, keep in the back of your mind just in case the Rosemont Plaza tries to do something shady. And the fact that there's 2 videos is already stating or showing shadiness. Now, Andrew Holmes is an anti-violence activist, and from my understanding, the Chicago media works with Andrew Holmes and the police. So this is how Andrew Holmes was able to see footage of KENNEKA walking into a freezer, because he's already an activist working through the police department. So this is how he became an activist. He's not a representative of the family. He never said he was. He is an activist, a violence activist. So what I'm thinking is he shows up when there's foul play, someone's injured, or some type of violence happened to them. And from his conclusion, he doesn't see any violence from that news press, because his job is to find out, was she killed? Was she hurt? And he found out that no, he saw her walking into the freezer and he concluded that it wasn't violence done to her. It was an accident. And this is from the Times.net news media outlet. Now, I also am going to put down in the link, it's Hollywood Life. They have the 911 call from the officer who found KENNEKA in the freezer, and he in fact states that KENNEKA was frozen. Now, Andrew Holmes stated that the freezer was not on, it was hot in there. So I'm wondering, was the freezer not on when he went in there, or was it on when the police said that they found her? Because it was on according to this 911 call. So when he went into the freezer, was it cut off? Because he's saying that it was hot in there. How could it be hot in there if the police officer called in and said that she was frozen, solid? So take a look at that, listen to the 911 call, and also view the video of KENNEKA staggering through the hotel lobby and the basement. And why does the family have a video, snippets of a video, and it's not the same video that Andrew Holmes viewed? Why is that? And basically, I just wanted to come back on here and just basically get people to see what's true and what's not true. Now, the timing of her death is also questionable because it's a different timeline with all the social media evidence. And the police are saying that people on social media are messing up the case because it was showed on social media during the time that she was in the hotel. So this is another reason why it's kind of hard for people to realize what is the truth and what's not, because social media is intertwined in this. So do your independent study. I'm going to put down the links for comparative damage, negligence. I'm going to put the link for unsafe premises and wrongful death, because this is going to be a civil action once they decide that it is not foul play dealing with her death. And Andrew Holmes have outruled it because he's an activist for violence. He's a violent activist. So he sees no foul play. This is why Andrew Holmes was on the scene. He was on the scene to make sure that she was not killed violently by friends or anything. So the friends are basically ruled out according to Andrew, because it's a freak accident. They didn't see any violence. They didn't see that she was struggling. They didn't see any bruises on her to show that she was harmed. So do your independent investigation, and do not listen to everybody on social media, because a lot of it is hearsay. Because the part where people were saying that she was raped, the authorities have not put that out. Stated in the autopsy is not even finished. So for people to say that the girl was raped or harmed, we have to wait till the autopsy is actually completed. So a lot of people were taking that around saying that she was raped, she was harmed, something had to be done to her. What was done was people just was doing their own thing. Everybody was drinking and drugging, and they were not being aware of everybody's safety. So this is something to actually look at, examine, and really, really talk about. It's something that is tragic, but there's a lot that's coming out of this. Children are talking about rape, dealing with KENNEKA's case, and there's a lot of children and social media millennials that are talking about rape and assault, and it's opening, it's eye-opening. People are talking. And that's kind of good coming out of KENNEKA's case. The younger generation can finally have something to look at and understand what they can do, what they can't do, and how to be much safer. So this is just my take on everything. Again, I have the 911 call on Hollywood Life that you can go and take a look at that and listen. When they found her, she was frozen. So, and Andrew Holmes stated that the freezer was hot. So if the freezer was hot, why did the police officer call in and said that she was frozen? If the freezer wasn't, Andrew Holmes is pretty, he needs to be more elaborative on what he's saying. So tell me what you think, like, subscribe, and be blessed.